Welcome back, guys, to the channel. If you're interested in vocal technique, pick up my ebook called Becoming a Natural Singer. And if you want help with your voice, book a lesson. Email and website links in the description. So how do we deal with inhibition to sing or to vocalize, where we feel like there's something holding us back? We aren't able to commit. We aren't able to be aggressive. Firstly, I want to just talk about and cover what inhibition is, because my memory of when I started is I didn't really have an awareness that I was inhibited when I was using my voice. In fact, when I first started to discover the inhibition, it was news to me. It was so normalized in my mind that that was my world. And I actually believed that the reason my voice had limits was because, or the limits it had at the time, was because that's how I was born. I didn't know any different. I didn't know any better. And as I started to push against and feel this inhibition, I started to realize, yeah, there's something there that's kind of more than just technique. It's that feeling when we're going up and we anticipate, we prepare, we brace ourselves for the high notes. We get ready. We're going to hit that high note. All of that type of mentality is the inhibition. And it can be very hard to get out of, because it's this habit of getting ready for the high note. I'm going to hit that creates the problems with the voice that feed back in to the creation of the inhibition. So the failure of the technique and the misunderstanding of the technique feeds into the inhibition, and the inhibition impacts your ability to execute the technique, and you get into a vicious circle that is very hard and challenging to get out of. Now, I still have this under pressure in moments where I've got a bit of uncertainty. I'll feel these thoughts, this preparation start to come in. What it really is it's getting out of the now and it's looking ahead to, oh, there's a high note coming, get ready. Whereas healthy technique is in the now, it's executing. So the training and the work we do outside of just the scales is we work to get into the habit of staying in the moment more as singers. And this takes time. It's not something that is easy for somebody or people who are much more abstract bias. They are biased towards the future and past. They're not used to being in the now so much. Typically, these are the people that have more inhibition with their using their voice. So these habits of thinking that create the inhibition, and they present us with this challenge and this problem, we have to gradually pull away from them. We have to gradually start to see value in the moment and less value in the past and the present. Now, both parts of the mind here have importance. The concrete, the now, being in the moment, vitally important for singers. But in order to get better, we have to think in abstract ways. We have to dwell on what went well, what went badly. The key is to understand what those two functions are there for, and to make sure that in a situation where the tool set is required concrete thinking in the moment, when we need that skill set, we don't smother it and strangle it with abstract thinking. Yeah? So the habit is this. I go up in the scale, every time I think that and feel it, I have to go back to clear-minded, execute, function first, worry about the result later. Once I've gone through the scale with a concrete mindset, with no anticipation from start to finish, I get to the end of the scale and then I think, what went well, what went badly? And I rinse and repeat until the scale gets better. But I do not, halfway up the scale, start dwelling, start getting out of the moment and start inhibiting with abstract thought, bracing, getting ready, hitting the high note. Frankly, a lot of the problems people have with high notes is because they treat them differently to the rest of their voice. Rather than just coordinating as they do low down, they get into the mindset of having to do something extra for the high notes, to do something more. And whilst there is some truth in that, there's also a lot of danger in it. It's a very, very risky thing and a very, very dangerous thing if you're going to constantly be reinforcing this mindset of, I've got to get ready for that big note. Because unfortunately, you're much, much more likely to create undesirable inhibition by doing that type of, by creating or establishing more of that type of mental habit with your voice. And as we said, you get in that vicious cycle, and once you're in it, it drags you in like a vortex. It's very, very hard to get out of. So that's vocal inhibition or inhibition when you're using your singing voice. You've got to understand the abstract from the concrete, and you've got to make sure whatever tool set is required for the task you're doing, you make sure that you employ that tool set and you don't give in to the other side that you're showing preference to. Now, some people will have the opposite preference. They will show preference to concrete thought, and these guys tend to sing well, but they tend to find it difficult to improve because they aren't particularly introspective in nature. They tend to want to just go and, let's see what happens. We'll just explore. Who cares? It's going to work out in the end. This type of mentality. It's great for singing, but it's not great for improvement with singing. So there is a bonus to being one of these people who are abstract bias. You're much more likely to have the toolkit and the mindset to improve as a singer. And the pitfalls and the obstacles that naturals have to overcome that show a little bit more preference to the concrete. It's not all roses and what's the phrase? It's not all gold anyway. Yeah, it's not always a pot of gold at the end of that rainbow. It can be harmful. A lot of those singers can end up in trouble when they keep pushing and pushing and pushing till they get nodules, so they hurt themselves, and eventually they have to have a wake-up call and realise, I'm not doing it right. There's something off here. Most of it's good, but I've been doing something wrong. I've been hurting myself. And that is a place that none of us want to end up. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comments. Hit me up. What do you think about vocal inhibition? Have you ever had it? Have you suffered from it? How did you cure it? How did you clean it up? I'll be back next Tuesday with a video. Thumbs up, subscribe. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.